Hello, I'm Chris Bishop and welcome to the Small Business Show. We're here in Kaya Sands near Johannesburg this week. Now, if you're eating a chicken or spare ribs anywhere in Africa, there's a very good chance it came from here. We're here to meet an entrepreneur by the name of Seymour Talpert, a man who started out as a chef and now owns this.
Hi, I'm Seymour Talpert, co-founder of a company called BRM Brands, a specialized meat and poultry processing company specializing in cooked product to the food service, top restaurants and supermarket trade in South Africa and parts of the rest of Africa.
So welcome to the program, Seymour Talpert. Now I understand you're the son of a Belgian entrepreneur who came here to Africa.
Yeah, my father was in a different field. He came out here, he was in the textile industry, imports, a big lover of food, gourmet, and from a young age gave me a love for food.
Now when you were a child, you were out there playing on the swings with your friends. What were they saying about what they wanted to be when they grew up, and what did you say?
Well, everyone wanted to be a fireman and all the unusual things, a pilot. I wanted to be a chef or in the food industry from a very young age.
And you finally learned to cook in the army.
That's where my CV starts. It starts actually in the army, 10 months in the army as an army chef. It was a good starting point.
And how long did it take you to open your own restaurant?
My own restaurant I opened at the age of 23 with a little bit of assistance from the family. Obviously didn't have vast money in those days.
It was a different world in those days when you were 23. I mean, people weren't eating out as much as they do now.
Well, nowadays I think it's a whole modern world, instant gratification. Your 25 to 35-year-olds earn generally big salaries and don't know how to cook, fortunately. So they want to eat at restaurants or buy our delicious products, which turn them into instant chefs.
Now this business of being a chef, a lot of people say it's long hours, it's hard work. They say it's very tough.
It is hard hours, but you can't be in that business if you haven't got a love for what you do. You have to be dedicated. It's not something you go into just because it's a job. You have to have a love for it.
And fast forward 30 years, here you are with your own business supplying ribs and poultry.
Well, it opened up first in the restaurant and then it moved to, this is now the 5th factory, state-of-the-art, large facility, 15,000 square meters. It's evolved conservatively over 30 years, and today we're there to feed the nation, plus other parts of the world as well.
So yourself, you were a chef, but how did you see this gap in the market?
Well, we realized that in this great country of ours, plus in the world today, skills are lacking. There's a lot of lack of skills, even though people are being trained, and you need to provide a consistent product that people can buy, use for fast food chains, even your better restaurants. They can always have their creative edge still to garnish it and do things with the product. But we realize that because of lack of skills, you have to provide easy products to prepare. If not fully prepared, semi-prepared.
Just give us an idea of scale, what we have in this particular site here. Give us an idea of the numbers.
This particular site is a 15,000 square meter site, 7,500 square meters under roof. We first of all have the most important part is the storage, because without the material you can't create products. So we have 1 million kilos of storage here, freezer and chilled storage. We source product both locally and internationally. Unfortunately, South Africa is not self-sufficient. We are forced to import as much as we love. Obviously want to support local, but there's not sufficient. Then we have this is actually a cooking facility. We as a company like to believe we specialize in cooked products, whether it's poultry, whether it's ribs, whatever it is, whether it's a roast, it's a fully cooked product. We have various ways we can cook it. We can cook sous vide, we can cook roasted. There's a fortune of different ways, very sophisticated ways of cooking.
And who do you supply from here? Give us an idea of...
Chiefly we supply the food service industry, very much the upper end, restaurants, hotels.
How many? Give me an idea of scale.
In terms of numbers of the actual restaurants, I'd say nationally a good 150, 200 different restaurants. There's hotels, there's catering establishments. Then we supply all the major supermarkets, every single one of them in the country we supply. So we have our retail products available nationally, and we have a certain amount of export business into Africa, into the Middle East.
Where do you export in sub-Saharan Africa?
We currently go as far as we will go into Nigeria, we'll go into neighboring territories such as Botswana, Namibia, Angola. We'll also go as far as up north, DRC. It's a variety, but it's got challenges.
And this, what kind of challenges can you say?
The biggest challenge is perishable product into Africa. You have to maintain your cold chain. It's vast distances, and there's lots of issues. There's different laws. There's veterinary laws. There's technicalities.
It's a very tough business, is it not, this meat business that you're in?
It's very tough, but I think the elementary thing is to do it right. And we as a company have always done it right. We were the first company to get ISO 22 accredited, which is a food safety system. I think it's a moral responsibility to give people safe food.
And what about the regulations in this business? A lot of people say they're very tough and sometimes they're very difficult to comply with.
Well, when you say difficult to comply with, I think it's you as the entrepreneur or owner of the business have to take it upon yourself, because we have limited resources to enforce things in this country. So you either make the decision that you're going to use certifying bodies to get all these accolades and not just have a certificate on the wall, practice the safety issues.
Because one bad experience can destroy your business.
Exactly, as the restaurateurs say, you're as good as your last meal. So you have one bad meal and that's the end of it.
What are the other difficulties in the meat business for an entrepreneur?
Well, I think the first problem is proteins in the world today are very short. We have many people in the world, billions of people. We've got a lot of poor people, but people have to eat. Whether you're a poor or rich person, you still have to eat. So protein is very short. That's the first challenge. So you have to secure your supply chain, which fortunately we have a big supply chain, and we continuously are looking for more source of supply.
And what about your source of supply here? A lot of people are saying that these days it's very tough to be a farmer. What about the people who supply you here?
I think it is very tough, and I think the sad thing is, which is very topical in this country at the moment, a lot of people are not getting into farming, and people are shocked when they say that you have to import, because we regard ourselves as an agricultural country, should be self-sufficient, but we're not.
And what is the problem, you think?
I think it's a skill once again, the skill. A farmer's life is not an easy life, it's a tough life. And I think most people, young people, want to be in an office environment, a very cool environment. They don't want to be in this tough, getting up at the crack of dawn, working hard on the land. I don't think they want to do that.
What do you think is going to happen in this world food business? A lot of people say there's going to be a shortage of food, not enough people are producing. What do you think should be done? Should it be government subsidies? What should be done about it?
Well, look, some years back we had a big international meat congress in South Africa, and already then, 10 years ago, they were saying about this problem that was luring its head. So I think one has to just look, they are doing the genetically modified things, which there's a big question mark whether it's good for you or not in terms of maize, because that is the biggest challenge, is particularly on meat, your feed. You have to feed an animal lots of water and lots of feed, and those things are the two big shortages.
What about the health angle in your business? I mean, a lot of people these days, including myself, tend to avoid meat where they can. Do you think it's likely to affect your business in the long run?
Well, look, we find that, fortunately, particularly in South Africa, I think people are still very big meat eaters. Nyama, everyone wants their food in this country, and I think that is one of the big pluses. I think it doesn't mean you have to eat a massive chunk of meat or a big fatty piece of meat. I'm not a medical person, and I wouldn't want to be quizzed on that, but I think there's no harm in eating meat. I make a living out of it, so I definitely would say that.
What about entrepreneurs? Do you think they're born, or do you think they're made?
I think you sometimes know where you want to head. I think you've got that basic instinct. I think you have got that instinct. But I think this country's still got a lot of potential for entrepreneurs.
And what about yourself? What makes you tick? Are you always on the go? Are you one of those entrepreneurs who can't sleep the night before because thinking about what's going to happen the next day?
Well, I think you've got an inquiring mind. You're always looking when I travel, which I travel quite extensively, I'm always looking at things in food. Often irritate the wife because I want to go into every supermarket, every restaurant. But it's, it's just a love for what you're doing and want to learn more. You're never too old to learn.
Do you have your down days in this business? Time to throw in the towel?
Look, there can be times, obviously with our power crisis and things like that, running a plant can be very disappointing, but you make a plan.
How badly has that hit you, the power shortage?
Well, look, we have contingency. We do have backup generation. We are looking at renewable energy. We're looking at solar. We're looking at all these options because I think anyone with any brain would realize you have to be realistic. But it's a challenge, but I think it's a challenge you can overcome.
What about the issue of succession in your business? Have you got plans in place so that the business will carry on long after you maybe have packed it in?
Well, fortunately, I have my younger son, Jacques, who's in the business. I have my late partner, Johnny's son in the business as well, David. And they're two fantastic youngsters and who are still learning, but they know a lot about the business already. And they also have a lot of unique things they can add to the business.
A lot of people who watch this program out there want to be entrepreneurs. They're preparing to pack in their jobs maybe and start becoming entrepreneurs. What would you say as an experienced entrepreneur? What would you say to them?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do, don't have these notions that you know it all. You're never too old to learn. I think that's really the base of it all.
What other advice would you give?
Well, first of all, get a good mentor, I think, to start before. Don't just run into something blind. Research it. Crawl before you run.
Where do you see your business going in the next 10 to 20 years?
Well, we see this business, doubling in the next 5 years. We've got a lot of interest internationally in our product. In fact, I'm embarking on a trip to Russia in the next 2 weeks, part of a DTR trade mission to look at possibly selling our products in that part of the world.
And are you looking towards expanding in the rest of Africa?
There's a lot of demand. The only challenge is the logistics of actually getting it there, because it's not like a canned good or ambient product. It has to be kept properly, temperature-wise.
Thank you very much, Seymour Talpert, for your insights into the business of being an entrepreneur. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this edition of the Small Business Show. For me, Chris Bishop, in Kaya Sands in Johannesburg, it's goodbye.